Hey, I didn't see you over there. Well, you came just in time. Today I'm going to try something new that I've never done before. It's a really gray, stormy day outside. It's been raining all day. And nothing better than the smell of fresh, homemade bread. So, I looked up a couple recipes online. I found some French bread recipes, a couple other roll things. So what we're going to do today, we're going to kind of try to mix it up. We're going to do a little bit of both. We're going to make a couple rolls out of the same recipe. Then we're going to make an actual small loaf of French bread as well. So, I've already prepped my ingredients. And just to go through what we're going to need to do this, we have 1.5 cups of warm water. It needs to be right around 110 degrees, roughly. They say anywhere between 105 and 115, but 110 is ideal for the yeast. We're also going to need 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of white sugar. We'll need 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. We'll need 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to need 4 cups of bread flour. So, without any further ado, let's get it cracking. So, first thing we need to do for the first step here is we need to mix in our 1.5 cups of warm water, which I do have right here. It's about 111, well, 113 at the top there. So we're right in the zone. We're gonna mix that with our 1 tablespoon of dry or active dry yeast, which I've got right here, and our 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're just gonna give that a little stir, and basically this is going to create the groundwork, our little foundation for our bread. Okay, so now that we have that stirred up, we're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes. We're gonna see the yeast do a little growth in there, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna show you what this looks like. Now for the next steps, we just gotta add a couple more ingredients before we really get to mixing it. So we're gonna throw in our vegetable oil, 2 tablespoons there, and our salt, which again, that was 1 teaspoon of salt. All right, we're gonna give that a little bit of a mix here before we transfer that to a bigger bowl. I'm gonna throw in 2 cups of the flour first. Give it a little bit of a base, roughly 2 cups here. 1, 2. And then we'll work the rest in as we go. So we're gonna go ahead and get this wet and mix it all up. Okay, so basically at this point, we're just gonna mix this in. If you have a KitchenAid, that would work. That's awesome. I don't have one, unfortunately, so I just gotta do my thing here. But just do this, get it nice and good. Once it starts coming off the walls and it starts drying up, then you know you're getting somewhere here. I'm gonna start adding in about 1/2 cup at a time as I go. All right, so I've got all of the flour in, got it all off the side of the bowl, and at this point, I'm gonna just knead it for about 8 minutes. So get it ready, just get some flour down on a nice clean surface, get the dough out, and you will want a greased bowl, or I'm just gonna use some extra virgin olive oil here and spray with this bowl. So once we are done, we're gonna put it in there and I'll show you the next steps. But basically at this point, you just wanna knead it for about 8 minutes. And I'll show you how it's supposed to look as soon as we're done. All right, so it's looking pretty good now, although we do have to let it rise. So as I said earlier, I'm gonna spray down this bowl with just some organic extra virgin olive oil. All right, we want to make sure that the whole dough gets the oil on it. So we're gonna just kind of put it in there, let it have some, and then turn it over and make sure it gets in there. All right, that's looking pretty good. So from here, you just want to cover it with a wet, clean, damp cloth. All right, so we're just gonna cover it with this cloth and we're gonna let it sit for about an hour, and we'll come back and check on it, and I'll show you some of the next steps when we get to that point. All right, it's been an hour since we put the dough in the bowl. It has risen quite a bit, as you can see here. So at this point, we just have to punch it down. And you'll see it deflates pretty much immediately. And we're gonna make our rolls and we're gonna make our loaf here in a second. So you do wanna have another lightly floured surface. I got this cutting board just because it's gonna be easier to kind of take some chunks out of here and make some little rolls. So let's get that going. Gonna give it a little knead. And now we can switch it up. One trick I forgot to do, but I heard about this and I'm gonna try it out right now, is to avoid the dough sticking to your knife or whatever you're gonna use to cut it up with. Spray that with some vegetable oil or olive oil also. We'll see if it works. All right, so they say you should have, for the rolls, probably 16 of them out of this. I'm gonna try to make 8 and make a loaf out of the rest. So in order to do that, I'm just gonna cut the whole thing in half and work with that first. And by the way, I'm just using a chef's knife. It looks, wow, that worked awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make my loaf here first. Then we can come back in and cut up the rest of them. Now with the loaves, you do want to have it sliced where it doesn't explode, and it also gives it that cool French bakery look. So some people go straight down the middle. Classic way is the little diagonal guy here like this. We're gonna go with that. Also greased up a cookie sheet, slightly greased. And we're just gonna set that guy right on there. Just like that. Okay. Now for these rolls. Probably do half and half. Let's just do 4. We'll do 4. See how big they get. Just make them into a ball. I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger than normal. They said I should make about 8 out of these. I'm gonna make 4, just because I don't really want rolls. I kind of want big sandwich broaching instead of little dinner rolls. So we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so I've got everything on my pan. Got my little rolls, I've got my loaf. It's looking pretty good here. And I'm gonna cover it back up with this damp cloth for another 40 minutes, and then it will be ready to go in the oven. The oven does need to be preheated to 400 degrees, so you can do that at the 30-minute mark, or however long your oven takes to preheat. I'm gonna probably wait until we're close to the end there, and then I'll get it preheated. All right, we'll be back. All right, so I let these sit for another 40 minutes. I had to make some adjustments after the last time I saw you. I had to move the loaf into its own bread pan just because I figured it's gonna rise, it's gonna get a little big, and I think it'll work out a little bit better. So you'll see here in just a second. So I'm gonna take these damp cloths off, and wow, they have definitely gotten bigger, which is perfect. One thing I am gonna do here, which they say you can add egg and water, I'm gonna just put a little melted butter on here on all of these and just spruce them up a little bit for the oven. But the oven's ready, piping hot, it's 400 degrees, ready to go. And again, these should only take about 18 to 20 minutes. Definitely gonna be checking them at 16, 17, 18. I don't wanna overdo them with all this work that I put in. All right, these guys are ready to rock. All right, so I'm gonna set my timer for 18 minutes and see you back here in a second. Wow. Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. These guys don't look as golden brown. I'm gonna leave them in there for another minute. Alright, well they're all out of the oven now and it smells amazing in here. I'm so glad I did this. I highly recommend making your own bread at home. We're gonna do the French loaf for dinner tonight with some pasta and sauce and meat, and you know, hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get down to the deli and get some deli meats, and I'm gonna make some sandwiches with the other things. But I'm gonna send you guys off with some pictures of it, and it's just cooling right now, so I can't wait. I cannot wait. All right, next time.